Hello, good morning. Welcome to FPL Onside. This is the Q&A pod. Thank you so much for all your questions. I've got it in the FPL colour scheme, but you know what? We've got a mixture of everything down there. Thank you again for so much for the questions and also for the channel love recently as well. I hadn't actually checked how much the channel had grown recently, but I was pleasantly surprised when I logged into YouTube earlier and was like, oh, that's gone up. So really appreciate that. Thank you so much. So let's get into it. Like I said, it's a mixture of stuff today. You ask questions in different varieties. When you ask for Q&A, you want them just in one place under Twitter, but people are asking on WhatsApp, DMs, blah, blah, blah. But there you go. We got the questions, and that's what we wanted. Let's jump in. First one comes from Thomas, who's at Arsenal_Calcio. He said, lots of new changes for the game. Can you order each one from best to worst and explain why? Yeah, I kind of did that on the last pod, if I'm honest. I didn't list them, but I gave an explanation why I liked it. But let's do it. So, number one, more assists. Yeah, you're getting more points. You're getting no more of that none assist. There's no more arguments on X about that was re-intended target. Oh, God, I still owe these points for this person's assist. It's just going to be clear cut. It's just going to mean more points. And it does mean that the kind of Cam, let's say, is potentially going to get a few more assists this season as well, which can't be a terrible thing. More points takes away arguments. I'm all for it. Number two, defensive contributions. Yeah, it's minimal. Like some, I put some players go through a season, they can get extra 40 points, 30, 40 points for a season. If you break it down, that's 1 to 2 a game week, which in reality, I don't think you're going to feel it much. I don't think that's going to be that important. But it's awarding players for good actions. So it's a step in the right direction. Maybe next year they'll look at it and go, actually, do you know what? That wasn't enough points for goal line clearances. Goal line clearances are so important. You know what I mean? And we've had some stunners. I'm thinking Nicola. I mean, obviously not the Premiership, but Nicola Sula, when he did the sliding one off. Kukurea more recently as well did one. And I think, without that, that's a goal. Possibly worth a few more. Do you know what I mean? So it's a step in the right direction. I'd like to see them build on it, but it's a good addition. More points, awarding more defensive players, which FPL has never really done. It makes them absolutely stupid to pick. So I'm glad they're doing it. Bonus points, yeah. So it did need changing. I think we've all moaned about the bonus points. Let's see how it goes. Again, I've said it's minimal, but goalkeepers are now have a better chance of getting it. If they make 2 penalty saves in a game, it's not just going to get to the one striker who scored. Like simple as that. It's going to understand that wow, this keeper's had a bit of a blinder here. 2 penalty saves. Without them, they'd have lost potentially. So it awards them. So I said, we should see the right bonus point per game, not just the people who scored. Yeah, that's simple on that one. I don't think that's a bad one at all. Then the 4-5-6, double chips. It's not necessary. It is dumbing down the game a little bit. I mean, I've seen the argument. It's dumbing down the game. It's making it easier for people. Is it? Because with double chips, I've got to do a lot more planning. I've had to plan, 3 chips for the first 19 games. Never had to do that before. So is it dumbing it down, or is it actually saying, you might get extra points for those chips, or boost, what do we call them, chips? Gaffr, clouds me mind. You might get more points for those chips, but at the same time, I've got 6 of them to sort out now through the season. So I don't know if it is dumbing it down. It gives somebody the ability to make more points, but doesn't make it necessarily easier for somebody, does it? Yeah, and I kind of have put it's more planning for the casual. So actually, although people are saying, oh, it's making it too easy, or blah blah blah, actually it might kill off the love for some people who are casual players. I don't want to mess around with 6 chips. Just give me the 3 when I can through the season. So actually, I do double chips. It's not necessary, but I don't agree too much that it's dumbing the game down. I just think it's made it a bit annoying. I just didn't think it was unnecessary. It's like they panicked for something to add and they've gone with that. New leagues, we don't care at all. I'm not in any of them. I had a terrible season last year. I just didn't concentrate at the latter end of it. I wasn't doing very well and I had a lot of life stuff going on. So therefore, I didn't make it into any of the 2 new leagues. And as I said, I wouldn't care if I was in them. They're just 2 new leagues. Like, are you getting anything extra? Is there prizes for being the winner of the first 1% league or the 10% league? No, I think we all get the same bloody stress ball. So what's the point? It's just, again, another addition unnecessary. And the biggest one, AFCON transfers. I ranted about it last time, and I swear you put it here to piss me off. It's an utter joke. You will only have a maximum of 3 players in your team who are going to the AFCON when that rolls around. I guarantee it. Like you and even that, like I can only envisage Salah or Aït-Nouri in reality in most people's teams at that point. I don't think many people will have Bumo because I don't think Man United are going to be that great. No one's going to have Nicholas Jackson. Ismaili Sarr, maybe I'll go there, but generally you ain't having that many people. So did we need 6 of them or 5 of them? Sorry, no, we certainly didn't need 5. We didn't need any at all. Bad planning. If you know AFCON's coming around and you've got your team littered with them, that's your fault. Yeah. Still annoys me. It's just so stupid and unnecessary. That's the dumbing down. That's the get out free clause. And it just means people are going to build up 5 transfers, make 5 transfer changes, do the same with AFCON. All my 5 transfers free now anyway. 10 different players you can change within 2 weeks. What's that point? It's like a free wild card. Just it's going to be exploited. And I personally I could exploit it too. Well, I'm allowed to, like everyone else, but I don't want to. It's not the way the game should be played. Annoys me. Thanks. Joe, FF Scout _ Joe. Thank you for your question. He said, BBE, so bench boost in 1 or not is the biggest question. Sorry, I'm yawning. I'm tired. It's very early morning. I'm doing this because I've got to do it before work now. I got coffee to power me through. I've just dropped my stepdaughter at the airport for her trip away for a week. I'm not going away to Spain, am I? Bench boost 1 or not is the biggest question, I reckon. So what's the best time to play it? What players to target? And should it be part of an aggressive play, including free hit 2? I'm tempted by that if I'm bench boosting in 1, so an aggressive play with free hit 2. So if he bench boosts in 1, he's going to aggressive play with a free hit in 2. There are good fixtures for some teams who have less good fixtures in game week 1. So, Arsenal, e.g. Arsenal. Meanwhile, Spurs go to City. I get it. So, I've put, as discussed, previous pod, bench boost 1 is not for me. I wouldn't be going aggressive at the start of the season with my chips at all. I think bench boost 1, free hit 2, that is too decent. Actually, bench boost is never decent, but free hit is. And free hit is such a get out free for a week, I think. And there are better times to do it. You've got no data, no knowledge at that point, and that's what scares me with it. I see teams littered with Frimpong, Aït-Nouri, Wirtz, which is fine. I like Wirtz as well, but Aït-Nouri is not going to be a complete starter every single time for Man City. We've seen him rotate a lot. And he plays a lot at the same time as same side as Gvardiol. I don't know how they're going to line up, and that's the point for me. I need a good, and I've blown chips early before quite a lot in different formats. It's never gone well, and you always find yourself. But for me, anyway, let's say our personal preference, I can only speak for. If you use your chips early and they don't go well, you know that you're trailing and the people ahead of you still got theirs to use. And it's a very daunting place to be for me mentally. I'm always like, what am I doing to catch up? Like a bit of love goes, if I'm totally honest with you. And I'm like, I've blown it already. I've messed up. Like if you get to the later stages and you play one and it doesn't go well, do you know what? Maybe I'm still in contention because I've been playing all right and I've got decent points and I'm roughly with the pack. But you want to use them, and I think you need to use them with more data. And then below, I've kind of put the reasons when I'm looking at it. So it depends on what you want to do with your bench boost. Like as I previously said, bench boost can be used. Bench boost free hit can be used for two kind of things. You either go for teams who have got good fixtures, or you just go for great teams that have got good fixtures. And it's, do you want to try and go against the grain? So in game week 6, for instance, you've got Everton, West Ham, Bournemouth, Leeds, Forest, Sunderland, Spurs, Wolves, Villa, Fulham. So there's a chance to fill out your team. And I think I'm talking free hit here, to be fair. No, I am talking bench boost. So, you've got players there, and you're not going to be buying players that are your premiums to go on the bench for the week. Like, that's just not the way it goes. Your bench boost is always going to be full with players from lesser teams. That's just the way we do things. I think for the moment, I've got a Leeds player, a Bournemouth player, and God knows, maybe a Newcastle defender that's not going to play for the first couple of weeks because they've got tough fixtures. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. I've made too many drafts, as most people probably have. But it's not going to be filled with great players. I imagine end up with probably Sunderland, Leeds, and somebody else. That's the way it's going to go. But game week 10, so you could set it up using a wild card in game week 9, obviously. So you wild card in game week 9, but in game week 10, you've got Brighton, Leeds, so you could use some Brighton players that are cheap enough, maybe. Everton, Sunderland, both sides, I think you could use. Fulham and Wolves, again, and then Sunderland, Everton. Yeah, Sunderland, Everton, the other way around. So yeah, your bench boost, you could easily, when you wild card in 9, if you do that, it's a good time to wild card between 9 and 13. I've said that before. You could set it up using that. Might be what I do, potentially. But you're going to have players from those teams, I think, around that area. And you've got data. That's the key thing. You have data. You know the teams, you know the 11s, how players are performing. You've got some form there. In game week 13, the top teams have great fixtures. So, again, see my wildcard slide from previous pod. But if you get the right supporting cast, you could get a lot of big points. So not only do you have really big fixtures, but Villa are playing Wolves, Bournemouth have got Sunderland, Brentford have got Burnley, Forest have got Brighton. So actually, if you set up the wild card, you get maybe one from Villa, one from Brentford, one from Forest. Not the most expensive guys, but the supporting cast could go really well. Same as game week 16 as well. The supporting cast, good fixtures in game week 16 for the top teams, but supported by Villa, West Ham, Brentford, Leeds, Fulham, Burnley, and Spurs, Forest. By all means, I'm not saying they're not big teams, but it's where you've got to look at the potentially ones who aren't going to be fighting for the title, have cheaper players in their teams, and that's what you need. And then game week 18 is Burnley, Everton, Fulham, West Ham, Leeds, Sunderland, Spurs, Palace, and Brentford, Bournemouth. So again, good supporting cast. Is leaving it to game week 18 too late for you? That's the thing you've got to weigh up. My chip strategy looks like it's being played quite late, which is a bit of a worry for me. Okay. FPL Glasto. You probably know FPL Glasto from Twitter. He's not on Twitter anymore. He's gone to Blue Sky. He's down with this sort of thing for X, which I can understand. It is a cesspit, especially the FPL community. Some people just don't help it, do they? And that's the FPL community without going out into the broader spectrum of politics, which is a dismal fare. If it isn't porn bots, it's rubbish. There you go. Let's try and stick to FPL only. Drown out the noise. 4 and 4.5 million players for the 30 million in the bank game, right? And I've got a lot of new followers recently. So if you watch this, fantastic. There's a guy called FPL Gills. He's a Gillingham supporter. He's on Blue Sky as well. He did the whole exodus of X. But there's a lot of us on Twitter who still play. I'm going to call it Twitter and X. It's the same fucking thing. We play a game where you've got to pick a team and keep 30 mil in the bank at all times. There's a Discord channel for it as well, actually. So it's a really lovely little community. I think last night Jill said he had about 20 people in. If you're interested in it, let us know and I'll see what I can do to get you added. But you keep 30 million in the bank at all times. So you have to pick a team, keep 30 million in the bank. Everything else goes, as far as I'm concerned, if I remember rightly. But you must keep that money in the bank. It's fun, which is why he's asked for 4 or 4.5 million players. I've given him a few at the bottom because I'm not going to lie to you. I don't want to give away my strategies. I did all right last season in that game as well. At one point, I was winning for the first start of the season. I fell off a little bit, but I did all right. Okay, and then he said, maximize the new first half chip. Shout out to FPL Goose for this plan. Bench boost game week 1, free hit game week 2, and wildcard game week 4. We've kind of just done this. That to me is a bold strategy. you've used 3 chips by game week 5. You've got minimal data. Like that for me is a dangerous plan. If they don't smash it, you're going to sit there and be like, I've wasted them, and everyone else now has got them, and they're going to pull away from me hugely. And there are better fixtures to use them in. Like there really is. I can't say the first couple of fixtures aren't bad, but I think the fixtures change for me happens around 4 when Newcastle get better fixtures, or 3. No, it's 4. And around that 9 to 13 layer, like in 9, there's I think Chelsea or Arsenal get really good fixtures. I think 12 is Man City, Liverpool potentially. So there's a big swing between 9 and 12. That's a really good, nice time to look at using things as well. I did put the game week 13 to 19 are more the tricky winter fixtures. That's sort of November into December. So we might get postponements. So that's another thing to think about. Like, excuse me. It doesn't often happen anymore. The pitches are so good. The weather's never really that bad. But nearer the end of that game week, let's say 30 to 19 period, you could end up with 1 or 2 postponements. It can happen. Like I'll be fair, the pitches are okay, but normally they can postpone it because the weather's so bad, maybe that people can't get to the ground. That is something that happens, or it's dangerous too. If you've got a team at the end of the season and let's say 3 games are postponed, you got free hit. Yeah, could you change it? Could you do it? I've got, let's say 5 players from those 3 games. Oh no, I'm going to be lower players this week. I've got free hit. Is it worth doing at that point? So there's something to consider, isn't it? Okay. 30 mil in the bank, couple of players. Goalkeepers. So Verbruggen, 4.5, Jose Sarr and Kelleher, they're all 4.5. They're the 3 keepers that are going to probably play and cheap. I think we had Darlow as 4 million for Leeds, but it doesn't look like he'll be the starter anymore. So that dream's gone for everybody. Defensively, you've got Concert at 4.5, Van Heck at 4.5, who is also, you could put De Souza in there. And then you've got Van der Ven at 4.5 as well, who did play the friendly the other week, the one they drew 0-0. But he is going to be starting. Obviously, he's coming off an injury. But I think it'll be him and Romero up in the centre back, with Danso coming in and out occasionally, rotating. For me, Van der Ven at 4.5 is quite a good shout. I can see him and prefer him to Udogie. Mids, Pape Matar, 5 million, Unana 5 million, Kobe Mainu 5 million. If Kobe Mainu starts playing for United more regularly, I think he's great talent. It depends how good Man United are playing, but at 5 million, those 3 are not too bad. 4.5 million mids, forget about it. I couldn't find many that were good or would play regularly, and you need them to play. And then up top, again, that's so difficult because with this, I ended up, for me, you've got to put money into the strikers this year in this game a little bit. You've got enough supporting cast to get away with it. So, you've got Beto at 5.5. Everton haven't got bad fixtures. He'll tick over. I think Barry, the other guy they bought, is 6 million, so he's a bit of a stretch. But I think him and Beto will be rotated. That is 2 tall, big guys up front as well, if they could play 2 up top. You've got Muniz of Fulham. Let's see how he does this year. Obviously, Raul will probably play, or Jimenez, whatever you want to call him. So I think he'll be rotated with him like he was. And then you've got Krupi Jr. at Bournemouth, 4.5 million. I don't know how good he is. I've seen a lot of people put him in, probably because he's 4.5 million. But as I mentioned on someone's tweet, if Football Manager was your benchmark, Krupi turns into an absolute fucking well-beater. Yeah, I mean, a long way down the road, if I'm honest. Many years into a save I am for Football Manager, but Krupi's Krupi's just smashing it, if I'm honest. Okay. Slide 5. FPL Buddy at FPL_Buddy. Let's give him his proper name. So as a resolute Blackburn fan, what are the options to look at in Gaffr? When to look for as well for fixtures point of view, thinking game week 14 onwards, or don't consider them at all? It's a really tough one. I don't know how well Blackburn are, be fair, overachieved last season. if I'm honest. It's tough to know. Game week 14 onwards, by the way, is the fixture swing for them. It gets better for them. So you've nailed that. It's very easy to look at the Gaffr FDR and work that out. They've got quite a difficult start, if I'm honest. But I don't hate either fullback, Deneve or Ribeiro, both 5 million. Cantwell started playing really well at the end of last season, but he's 6.5 million. I think there are a lot better around that price in Gaffr this year. So I wouldn't be going there. The only one, as I put, you could get as a steal is Hashi, who scored a lot of goals pre-season and he looked pretty lively last season. He came in after playing in the Japanese league, so he was quite tired. So he was phased in with Gehi, so Mark to Gehi, who has also scored in pre-season as well. I mean, it was a tap-in, I think, but at the same time, in fact, he fluffed a one-on-one and the ball bounced to him and he got to put it away. But he scored, and he did score a few last season. So I think he's 6 million. But Ohashi at 6.5, if he's playing regularly, he's the main striker. Those two are going to get rotated. But yeah, Ohashi could be a steal if Blackburn do hit the ground running. Otherwise, there's not really anyone else to consider. So let's see how they play. I was kind of hoping Tyrese Doolan would have been the one this season. I thought he was going to have a great season. He ended very well last season, but he's moved on. So that was helpful. I'd wait to see if we make any other big signings or anything. I don't think we will. That's it for us, I think. But yeah, game week 14 looks a bit better. They've got a terrible start, Blackburn. I don't hate putting one in the team that you can bench every now and then, but yeah, it's difficult. I wouldn't be going for anyone else. At Joe follows FPL with Gaffr. I put the Gaffr one together. With Gaffr, do you have any weeks in mind for particular boosts? I've been very guilty of blowing them early in the past. Me too. Even played a boost game week 1, which went terribly. Yeah, that's me. Sorry, that was me. Yeah, with Gaffr, do you have any weeks in the mind for particular boosts? Question mark. The next bit is me. Yeah, I've been very guilty of blowing them in the past. I played one in game week 1. I don't think it was last season. I think it was the season before, actually. And I can't remember what I played. It might have been away days, but it literally had 2 or 3 players that didn't play. And the subs were home, so it didn't really matter. Because you don't have data. You don't know who's going to play sometimes. And especially this year, I think with Ipswich, Leicester, Southampton, not so much. They've got a smaller team. But Leicester, Ipswich, they are riddled with decent players. A lot of rotation. And they're pricey. That's the problem. So who's going to start? I think you can make a claim for Hurst being up front for Ipswich. He's been great pre-season. He's not that expensive, if you call 9 million not expensive. But then you've got Schmodix at 9.5 as well, who tears up the Championship. So I think those two are okay for Ipswich. But yeah, Leicester for me is a difficult one. They've got a few injuries as well for big players in the midfield. So we'll see. However, so the ones I'll play this I haven't looked too much, if I'm honest, until yesterday. Follow the leader, away days, and park the bus. It's a 3 that I'll probably play this set. You can only play 3 out of the 5 you're given. You're given 5 or 6? Can't remember. But you can only play 3 in the first set of fixtures up to game week 13, I want to say. Game week 3 has decent away fixtures. Game week 7 has some nice fixtures for follow the leader or park the bus. When I looked yesterday, I might actually be on away days game week 3. It's a bit early, but I think that's enough. And my team's set up so at the moment to play away days in game week 3. That's probably my plan. So go and have a look at what big teams have away fixtures on game week 3, and you can probably work out where I'm going. I'll probably end up with about... Well, no, actually, I say I've got... at the moment, I'll probably have about 10 players in actually away days, but I'll have some transfers then, so I might see if I need adjustments anywhere and put an away days player in. Unfortunately, some of the big teams have good games, but the supporting cast have all got pretty horrific games, so it's difficult to go there. But yeah, as I said, game week 7 also has some nice fixtures to follow the leader or park the bus. I'm not explaining what those chips do today. We've done that. Ian Parrin at Cloud Sky FF Show. How do, Darren? Very well, thank you. The only person who asked. Memories of playing Sky Fantasy, one that went really well and another maybe less so. And will you be playing and or creating content for official Cloud FF this season? He's plugged his own game here. I like it. Sneaky. First of all, I'm fine. Thank you very much for asking. Memories of playing Sky. I only played Sky for 1 to 2 seasons. I was not aware of how good it was. Martin and Craig got me into it and said it's very different to FPL, but these are the differences and this is how good it is. And actually, first season was fucking terrible. Second season did all right, actually. And I really enjoyed it. Memories. I remember getting a Rodri Hall, a captain Hall from Rodri. He was dynamite in that game. And obviously, yeah, that was it wasn't last season or the season before. I think it was the season prior to that, because obviously he was injured last. It wasn't running last season. The season before he was injured. So yeah, I definitely got a Rodri Hall. What I hate about that game, and this will go into what went really badly. I am terrible for the transfers. I've got 50 transfers. It feels like a luxury, and I'm like, oh. Transfer here, take this person out, or this person's got a nice game in the because with Sky, what you could do is you'd have a game week broken into days. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, sometimes Tuesday, potentially. And you pick the captain for every day, depending on the game. So what you can also do is transfer a player out before they had played. So if I had, let's say, Man United on Friday, and I had Bruno, for instance, and he did nothing, I could then take him out for somebody who played on the Monday within the game week. You can make only 5 of them a week, but you have 50 in total for the season. And I so many times punted on somebody who would do terribly because it was a punt. And I'd be like, oh, they did terribly. Oh, it's okay. I'll just take them out and put someone else in on Monday. The first season I played Sky, I burnt through my transfers so fucking quickly. Like, I think I remember speaking to some people within the community, and I'd be like, oh, how many transfers you've got left? And I was like, 10. And they were all on like 30 to 40 left. And I was like, oh, I've made a huge mistake here. I've not planned this or taken it seriously. So the second season, I did a lot better. And I kind of had transfers near the end of the season as well, which was fantastic. Yeah, planning. If Sky took planning, and I think the first season I just rushed into it. I didn't really think about it. I just was excited to play. Am I going to play Cloud FF this season? Yeah, I've already made a team. Craig and Martin are making teams, and I said, "Oh, is it any good?" And they were like, "Yeah, it's just like Sky." I know that you've done a video on it, actually, Ian. So I will watch that video eventually. But I think the rules are so down to what Sky was that I shouldn't struggle. The only thing I noticed was that you can make 50 transfers through the season. There's no limit per week. Didn't see that. That might not help me, but never mind. I really enjoyed it. I like the website. It's very easy, nice and clean, easy to use. I've made a team, quite happy with it actually, to be fair to you. So I'll be dialing in. I'm not going to make content for it. I'm sure somebody probably does already. But because I've got 3 games going, I just haven't got time to make the content for it. If I did, I'm considering doing a big roundup show of all the things, but I want to kind of keep it to separate, small FPL Gaffr, Dream Team. Here's my team. Here's my results. A couple of thoughts, though, and then keep it short. I don't know. I don't have time. In reality, I would have done, but I've got a job now, so that kind of comes first. FPL FOMO at FPL_FOMO. Interestingly spelling. I'm planning on an experiment this season. No Salah or Haaland for the duration. Brave boy. Can this strategy get me a rank of under 1 million? Yeah. Why not? You don't have to have Haaland or Salah to do well. There's going to be a lot of good strikers in this game this year, more so than before, and more so than last season anyway. Gyökeres, Sesko is going to end up at Newcastle. It'll happen because Isak's definitely going to Liverpool. That's going to happen. So Sesko, Gyökeres, Isak, Watkins, Evan Nilsson, you know, Solanke, you've got more striker options this year. So I think if you had like Isak, Watkins, Gyökeres, for instance, let's just say what's that? So 10.5, 9 million, and whatever Gyökeres comes in at, I can't think it would be much more than Watkins. I think it would be roughly 9.5. That's a good strike force. That could tick over. And then you still would be able to afford people like Palmer and Saka, and then a few lesser ones. There's no reason why Isak at Liverpool is not very capable of outscoring Salah or Haaland. This is just not. There's no reason why Sesko or Gyökeres, who are playing for two very top teams, could not score 15, 20 goals. Like, it's tough, don't get me wrong, but there's no reason why Arsenal get in those positions. He is a striker. They've kind of lacked that. Havertz is not a striker. So it's definitely possible. That's coffee done. So yeah, the strategy could. You don't need them. Let's be fair. We've had apart from Salah, we had a season where Haaland was injured for a while. So I'm pretty sure people had no Haaland for the duration of last year. They might have had Salah, but it is what it is. I think it's definitely possible. Good experiment. I'll be interested to see how you get on. So Neo Mello. At Ole Moen 2. We were in a conversation and he asked me a question. And I genuinely don't know if he was serious or not. Now, he had a picture of what I would say was a young boy. So I don't know if that was him or it was a man and that was a picture of his son. But he asked me, Haaland and Iwobi or Saka and Palmer? I don't know if he said to wind me up because everybody knows I can't really stand Iwobi. I mean, Saka and Palmer, quite obviously, if I'm honest. Are they even the same price? They probably are. If that probably does add up to what's that? 20, 11, that's 11. Oh, yeah, 21 and 14. Yeah, I mean, roughly the same price, I think. I know Iwobi can't be that much. He'd need to be sick. He could be, actually, couldn't he? Fuck. Yeah, Saka and Palmer in my eyes. But I don't think that's a serious question. I added it anyway. You can go and look at his art and see what you think. It's not a question, is it? FPL Vincenzo, Craig. Who's this guy? At FPL Vincenzo, we all know who Craig is. Are you setting your team up any differently in FPL this year for game week 1 on account of the extra chips we can play in the first half of the season? I'm not. Because I'm not looking at blowing mine early. I'm just setting mine up to have a good first 5 weeks. I've got no Newcastle at the moment. I potentially might have a defender, but he won't be playing half of the games in that stretch because they've got dodgy fixtures, Liverpool and Arsenal, I think. So I've set it up for the first 5 game weeks. That's where the sweet spot is, I think. I certainly have looked at some strategies, as you saw in my previous pod and this one a little bit as well. I think mine are coming nearer the end of the game week 19 period, and I'm hoping I can play well enough to bring myself into a good spot. I can make transfers and be sensible enough to get myself not up with the pack, but not knocking down in the millions, and still have those chips handy. And actually, for the first time in many, many years, focus on the use of them and actually play them at the right time with the right teams. And at the end of the day, if you've got every single top club player in all 3 bottom clubs and you play a chip and it doesn't work out, that's just luck, isn't it? At the end of the day, that is just being unlucky. Was it the right time to play it? Well, of course, yeah, you had top against bottom. Why wouldn't you? There is a thing as luck in FPL. I'm sorry, there is. And sometimes you get unlucky. It's just the way it is. And sometimes you captain a player and you can go on and score a hat-trick and you wouldn't have expected it. You say yourself about your arse shaving 4 goals. You left it on him by accident and he went and scored 4 against Newcastle. You wouldn't have thought about that happening, and you were probably pissed off at the time that you had left him as captain thinking, but I forgot to change it. That's luck. No one was picking Arshavin that day as a captaincy. Do you know what I mean? So it is one of those. So yeah, no, I'm not setting it up for extra chips. I'm just focusing on the first 5, then I'll focus on the next 5, then I'll start maybe looking at, well, by 9, I'll probably look at playing my wild card. But by that time, I've got so much data. I'll know who's playing and who's not, and what teams. There's going to be 1 or 2 teams that are surprising us, like Forest did last season. Let's be fair. There's going to be 1 or 2 teams that are potentially surprising us, and people haven't got players from, and you're going to want to jump on them slightly earlier. We'll see. Pep Talks at FPL_Pep Talk. Is Rodri going to be the 90 minutes force he used to be? Or have City had to move on slightly from Rodri because of the length of time he's been out? Will they be so dependent on him now, or do they have others who can come in and rotate with him to protect him? Well, I guess Reinders is the one that would come in and protect, come in for him rotational. But he's such a good player and he can push forward and do quite well as well. So I think he'll play alongside. I don't see why. We've seen players have big injuries, come back and not be the player they were. I think Rodri's mentally stronger than that. I think he won't give a shit that he's been injured. He'll come back, he'll be raring to go, and he'll still put tough tackles in and be the force he was. I don't see why he would digress that much. Will they want to be protective of him? Yeah, probably a little bit, if I'm honest. But I don't think they'll be dependable on him because I don't think they need to be anymore. I think they've really invested well, Man City, in the right places. And so they've got a lot of midfielders. So I don't think dependable is the right word because I think they've got now coverage. So they won't depend on him, but I do think he'll play still a lot. Let's be fair, as soon as he was kind of back into fitness at the end of last season, he started to come in and play more. So he's had now pre-season here after the Club World Cup to get fitter and get ready. And I can't see, he was so important to them before he got injured. There's no reason for that to stop. So for me, yeah, he's going to be back in and playing, and Man City are going to be a force again this season. I can see them really battling Liverpool out for the title. That's the 2 that I think will win, Liverpool or Man City. I think Man City have made some great business. So as long as they can keep Haaland fit, then they'll be very, very dangerous. But I think Reinders will be the one to kind of come in and replace Rodri or rotate with him a little bit. That's all I would say on that. But yeah, I think he'll be fine. Chris Hermitage said, if you were picking a zombie team in Dream Team, we're on to Dream Team now, what would it look like? Season long, no changes. Who gets sacrificed? This was tough. I've picked a team where I've got players that are absolutely going to play most of the games of the season, over 30 games in the season. I have sacrificed Haaland. The only one I would raise an eyebrow at, in fairness, is probably Foden. I think he'll have a great season. I really have put a lot of faith in him this season. He's in most of my teams. This isn't my team, by the way. This is what you've asked for. But I've gone for people who should play like full matches all the time, who score decent points. And Sun Dream Team is a bit of different scoring to FPL, as you can appreciate. So I've got 2 CDMs in there, in Tanaka for Leeds and Adam Horton for Crystal Palace, who's a great player. So these guys will tick over, play a lot of games, score points here and there. That's the idea. Salah captain, still think he'll be absolutely amazing this season. No Verts, because I can't trust that he will. At the end of the day, when you're faced with that zombie team, you've got to go for the players that are going to be consistent. So yeah, so consistently, let me read it out for the benefit of audio. Sanchez in goal, Van Dijk in defence, Lacroix, it's Lacroix from Crystal Palace in defence, and Van Heck in Brighton. Midfield is Saka, Palmer, Foden, Tanaka and Horton, and up front is Salah and Evanilson. Bournemouth don't really have another striker. I think he'll do quite well this season. He might come off. Otaro might play up front a little bit. I think he did in pre-season recently. He scored anyway. And then Evanilson didn't. But Evanilson has played. So we'll see. That's what I would do as a zombie team. Haaland gets sacrificed. Verts gets sacrificed. I've not got any big defenders there, really, apart from Van Dijk. The other two are quite cheap. Sanchez in goal. Chelsea, I think, will come fourth this season, so they'll have a decent enough season for Sanchez to keep ticking over. And he's not badly priced as well. That is how I set up. And that is it. That is it. Not too bad, just over the 40 mark. Thank you so much, everybody, for the love on the channel. Look, I didn't expect it to go as well as it has. A lot of comments, a lot of new follows, likes. TikTok's good as well. I've just jumped on there. So really, really appreciate that. And yeah, I'll be back. Well, when will I be back? That is a question. I've got a busy week, and then I'm away for a weekend. I'll be back soon, probably with a Gaffr pod, because Gaffr starts in 2 weeks' time. So I'll be back with a Gaffr pod very soon to go through my kind of final team before I go, or some thoughts, definitely. And then when I get back, I'll probably do the same for FPL and Dream Team, considering they will launch the week after. Busy couple of weeks ahead. Doesn't help that I'm going away for a bit. But I'll keep active on X and TikTok as best as I can and see what I can do to keep you guys amused. That's what we want. A bit of fun, innit? Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate the love.